Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate their ascension process. And today I'm going to share with you a very powerful mindset tip that can truly make it so you can overcome any awakening challenge, period. Okay, it was inspired by a book I'm listening to now for the second time, and the book is called The 50th Law, and it's a collaboration between the rapper 50 Cent and a real famous author named Robert Greene. And the whole essence of the book is how to become fearless. And 50 Cent, grew up in extreme poverty, really like in the deep dark ghettos, and now he's like this massive success. And Robert Greene, this author, was very fascinated by 50 Cent's ascent, you could say. So it's a really awesome book. But there's a phrase that 50 Cent uses, and this is exactly what I'm getting at, is you got to learn how to turn shit into sugar. Those are his words, but it's actually quite fitting. And I'll give you a perfect example of exactly what that means. And within that statement and mindset, you can literally overcome anything. So a powerful example, more powerful than I can personally share, is something that 50 Cent experienced when there was a point in his career where he was just about to get signed. He had this whole record completed. He was signed to a label. He had sponsors galore, and he was literally days away from going from like rags to riches, becoming famous for this thing. And he got shot 8 times, I want to say, in a car by some old drug dealer, foe of his. And then as a result, not only was he shot freaking 8 times, but all the record labels were like, oh shit, we're not dealing with this guy. He's too hardcore. They dropped the label, the album never went out, and he just sat in his little hospital bed healing from these wounds, this close to stardom, and now he went to absolutely nothing. Life dealt him a bunch of shit, you would have to agree. And he sat there, but because he had this warrior mindset cultivated from overcoming adversity after adversity all throughout his life, he turned this shitty situation into what he is today. In fact, to even make matters more bleak, he was shot in the jaw, and he couldn't really sing the same. He did not have the same voice any longer. And as he was sitting in his bed, he noticed that all the rappers out there currently at the time were very phony. They were not really representing the ghetto that he knew, and it was all a bunch of fake bullshit, and he knew that. So he decided, even though all the promoters and producers and record labels were already weary of him because he was too hardcore, he became extra hardcore, extra authentic, extra gritty, and he put out this song. The name of the song is called "It's Fuck You," just to give an example of how far he took this. But he embraced his situation, and then as a result, this song somehow leaked onto the radio or something. Not on the radio, obviously, but somehow it leaked, and it went nuts. And he emerged as this massive star. Eminem finally signed him, and now he's like this multi-millionaire, crazy success because he turned a horrible situation into a positive. He embraced the challenge, and he ascended out of it in a way that would have far surpassed his little temporary, fleeting 15 second or 50 second, whatever, 60 seconds of fame he would have had otherwise. Now, of course, that's sort of an extreme example. So I want to share a personal example, just more of to kind of bring it back down to earth a little bit, because that's maybe hard to latch onto for most people. So a while back, I had this medical marijuana grow business, you could say. And even though I later came to shut it down and now do what I'm doing now, there were different levels of success and various problems and solutions along the way. And one I'm going to share now is very relevant. So the first little business I had was with a friend of mine. I had a gym. I mentioned I had a gym, and like 2 doors down in the same unit, in the same building, we also leased this space and put in this grow operation. It was a really massive industrial warehouse complex, and so the landlord never really peeked in on you, and you could get away with this kind of stuff. A lot of people were growing. But anyway, for whatever reason, they had to come into our building and check. I got that call. You know, we had like spent months setting up this other unit. We got the grow finally going. We were finally like this close to making money and turning a little bit of a profit after all this investment in time and work. And we got this call. They had to come in there and take some freaking pictures or some bullshit like that. Well, what we had going on was like a 20,000 watt grow operation that occupied the whole massive space. There was no way of hiding it at all. And we had no choice but to say, okay, come on in. And as a result, as we expected, they said, you got to get out of here. This is not, this is not allowed. So we felt, me and my buddy, we felt genuinely sad. We were really like depressed because we put our blood, sweat, and tears into this operation. And what had happened was awful on all levels. How could this be a good situation? How could I turn this shit into sugar, you might ask? Well, it gave us the realization that it's risky and unstable growing where you're renting from somebody where at any moment they can come and peek in on you. So we got the idea we hired this investor and a friend of a friend. He was actually a professional hockey player. I'm not going to give his name, but he invested and he bought us a freaking massive like 7,000 square foot building where this guy owned it. And he was our landlord, but he was a buddy of ours. So our grow operation expanded exponentially. We had total freedom. We were like kids in a candy store. It was like an unbelievable paradigm shift in a positive direction from this initially horrible situation. And we got that call. It was like, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation where you're just like scared, absolutely scared shitless, like that. Your heart is beating out of your chest, like you're like, oh my God, oh no. You know, it was like that. It was heavy, and then it was just a big mess, but it turned into a positive situation. And having gone through enough of those, I've learned to carry that optimistic mindset, even in the most grim situations. Here's a current example. Maybe a few weeks ago, many of you guys know I went on a vacation recently to test out our camper. We had the sneaky suspicion that we might decide to go live in this thing, but we weren't really sure. And we sort of concluded halfway on this little vacation of ours that we are going to, in fact, sell it home and move into this camper and go pursue our dreams and go live out west in California where the weather's nice and there's beautiful nature. But as we got home from our vacation, the reality kind of set in, the doubt set in, and we were fairly stagnant. And within a period of a week, let's see, my entire upstairs flooded, water down all the freaking middle story walls. We had to like paint and patch up. It was a disaster, water everywhere, massive flood. 2 days later, my dog died. I shit you not. My 3-year-old, I'm not going to get into it in too many details. I'll freaking start bawling like a baby, but like my 3-year-old amazing lab golden retriever mix, he died. He got out of the house, and we think one of our neighbors freaking poisoned his ass. Irrelevant. And thirdly, on that same night, as I had to go take my dead dog that we finally found to like the place where they cremate him, I freaking crashed my car. I backed my car into a wall, all within a span of a few freaking days. Now that's all horrible. How could that mean anything? But you know what that did? That lit the fire under our ass. Say, we are getting the hell out of here. We are moving. And because I'm at a level in my awakening where I can heal quickly and grieve very quickly, and I understand, I can even like sense this dog's presence. We're over that, and I understand it was time to go on, and we were able to get rid of the car easily and get into a better, more suitable vehicle for us. And all the flooding inspired us to kind of patch up the paint, which we had to do anyway. So all these problems turned into nothing but solutions in disguise. We turned the shit into sugar, and here we are. We're about to launch off in a matter of weeks out to California. Well, not quite out to California. We're going to take a little bit of a detour, but we're about to have a level of freedom that most people just barely even allow themselves to dream about in a few weeks. And it's all because I've learned to apply this mindset of turning every single freaking problem ever into a positive. And you can do the same too. Napoleon Hill, from the very famous book Think and Grow Rich, once said, every problem, or I don't know how he worded it exactly, but it was something like, every problem has an equivalent or greater benefit to it. And that is life. That is the secret to life. You turn your problems into solutions, your shit into sugar, and you will ascend quickly, and literally nothing can touch you. What can happen to you when you're like that? Nothing. Because you'll transform any bleak situation where most people would slip into victimhood and complain and have a freaking pity party and whine. You will transmute that energy into something grand. And that is what you are, and that is what you came to do, and that is exactly what you came to show and display. And if that mentality can seep into the rest of humanity, we can transform this shitty situation, this bleak earth scenario, into sugar.